All right, so at this point, we'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve the agenda with the addition of 29A, the steel saloon project at the fairgrounds.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the addition of 29A. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. Okay. Move to public comment. At this time, we'll open the meeting to public comment. Just a comment before I read our disclaimer, if you will. The last meeting, it was we directed our county administrator to provide or put together a map because it was brought up that there was some confusion on the distances. Primarily by this board, we're hearing a couple of different distances, and Administrator Goldberg did provide that map. If you haven't received one or are unclear on what the distances are, the map is on the back table back there, as well as it's included in our board packet, informational item number 30. So those wishing to speak must state their name and address for the record after they're acknowledged by the board chair. Each person will be limited to 2 minutes to make his or her remarks. Speakers will address all comments to the board as a whole and not one individual commissioner. The board may not take action on an item presented during public comment period unless the item is already on the agenda for action. When appropriate, the board may refer inquiries and items brought up during the public comment period to the county administrator for follow-up. One additional comment, if you are here for public comment, we would ask that you step up to the podium, state your name and address. It's a little closer, and it actually helps for our microphones or equipment here to pick up what you're saying so that those in attendance can hear it, as well as anybody that might tune in online or want to refer back to it. So with that, is there anyone wishing to be heard?
Owatonna, 646 East Main Street. In the early 90s, after part of the roof had caved in from snow and ice loads, I was moving an old turkey shed just north of the Pottersport Golf Course. In conversation with the county building inspector, he mentioned this building removal would make it easier for an eastern bypass. Fast forward to today, and there's discussion of an east side corridor right in people's backyards. Although discussion is about where an east side corridor, eastern bypass, should be, I'm still trying to figure out why we need to spend millions of dollars on an eastern bypass. Interstate 35 provides a western bypass, and Highway 14 provides a southern bypass. We just spent millions of dollars on downtown renovations, and now we want to spend millions more for an eastern bypass, for an east side corridor to bypass downtown. I suggest to those that don't want an eastern bypass going through their backyards to get an answer from an elected local government officials as to why we need an eastern bypass. The only thing I found for need of an eastern bypass, besides the obvious travel time saving of a fuel vehicle, is for a place to add to our recreational trails. Reading in Wednesday, December 13th, 2023 paper, an article, Eco-Friendly and Cost-Saving Heat and Air Conditioning Pumps Gaining Popularity. This begs the question, if heat pumps are so cost-effective, why can't we afford to run a heat pump at the jail? For the sake of financial transparency, who will write or help me write a county spot for the Owatonna Public Utilities newsletter answering this question? Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Anyone else?
Good evening, Matt Side, 2519 Stony Creek Drive, here in Owatonna, and I'm here on behalf of myself and approximately 400 other residents, and probably many more. That's just how many we have in a petition with regard to the east side corridor location. The location is being proposed for a trunk highway with speeds up to 45, 55 miles an hour next to residential neighborhoods, some up to 150 homes. 29th was supposed to be our neighborhood's city street of 30 miles per hour, as shown in previous development plans in both the city and the county. What's frustrating is no representation whatsoever has been given to us by our elected officials to come out and take a look at exactly what this proposal looks like in our backyards. As a matter of fact, took the county administrator putting together a map so you could see what the distances were, rather than coming out and spending some time with us out on the east side to see what this 30-year-old proposal looks like in today's Owatonna. Worse yet, we spent $250,000 of taxpayers' hard-earned money on a study that, when it kicked off, said that it was only studying one route, and that's 29th Avenue. Again, this location right next to this big neighborhood here of homes. I can save you some money and tell you what happens when a 2,500-pound chunk of steel is hauling down the road at 45, 55 miles an hour and encounters flesh and bone. I can tell you what kind of noise that's going to create for this neighborhood and nearby residences. I can tell you that property values are going to decline when you put this kind of road next to a neighborhood. I can tell you about vulnerable adults in this neighborhood, some with backyards that will join this roadway here that have dementia. Until recently, the study was said to be only focused on 29th Avenue. I thought this here map included by the city administrator was going to show that we're also studying 34th Avenue. I'm hoping that's what that means, because that's a much better location for this. And as it shows there, it's less than a half mile down the road. If we're going to put in a highway, it seems like that would be the most appropriate place to put it. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Anyone else?
Melissa Zimmerman, 2525 Stony Creek Drive. Also speaking to the East Side Corridor, representing many people as well. Before deciding which projects to invest in, Steele County sought input from residents. Citizens indicated a clear priority: improving pavement quality, fixing our existing roads. The lowest priorities were improving travel times, expanding trails, and decreasing congestion. The proposed East Side Corridor aligns with all of the lowest priorities, not the residents' preferences. Out of 16 respondents with 45 transportation concerns, only one requested a north-south route east of town as proposed today. While two specifically advocated for extending Partridge south to 18th Street in this study, this was the most addressed concern in the city study. The top concerns here, with over 42% of respondents, addressed traffic controls, followed by 31% addressing concerns for pedestrian safety on existing trails, including concerns for reduced speeds on 26th Avenue to protect children. Despite assertions from elected officials that more residents than we think within our neighborhood support 29th Avenue, recent neighborhood engagement revealed starkly different sentiments. Out of 141 individuals consulted, only one favored 29th Avenue. While there might be isolated support for 29th Avenue, of those expressing preferred location, 99% said 34th Avenue. In just a few days and without the resources the county has, we were able to engage significantly more people. The overwhelming consensus was that the proposed plan is too close to the neighborhood and simply doesn't make sense, especially given the intended 100-foot footprint. Residents frequently expressed frustrations with the lack of effort from representatives to seek firsthand knowledge of the community's concerns. Many residents felt that there was a lack of information from the city and the county and felt marginalized in the decision-making process, believing that their input is disregarded and administration pushes forward with predetermined plans. These sentiments are not unique to the East Side Corridor, but are reflective of broader concerns about governance and community engagement. Safety, accessibility, and quality of life are at stake here and demand a more attentive and responsive approach from our elected officials. It is time for a change, a shift towards genuine listening and consideration of constituents' desires. Relocating the East Side Corridor to 34th Avenue is a viable solution, offering improved safety and opportunity for growth. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the meeting. Public comment. Informational items in your board packet. As I alluded to earlier, that East Side Corridor city limits mileage comparison map, page 83 of your board packet. Some distances that we haven't had a chance to look at that. The range in varying distances, obviously. From 3/4 of a mile, 1.23, 1.48, 1.42. So I think that this clearly points out the distance from city limits to the 34th Avenue proposal. So that will have to be part of the consideration as we move forward through this process. Next informational item is Property Maintenance Policy Committee minutes from February 1st, 2024, page 84 of your board packet. Internal Central Services Policy Committee minutes, February 7th, 2024, page 86 of your board packet. Public Works Policy Committee minutes, February 9th, 2024, page 88 of your board packet. Do we have any presentations beyond what we already have?
Mr. Chair.
None tonight. That brings us to Commissioner reports. Actually, Julie, do you have anything to report from the County Attorney's Office?
No.
Everything's good? A lot of work, a lot going on? Hang in there. Thank you. Commissioner Glenn?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to report, I attended a JD 6 joint ditch meeting and JD 19 joint ditch meeting with Rice County. Community Health Board meeting, Community Corrections Board meeting, Fair Board meeting, and Public Works meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Krieger?
On January 25th, I attended the Community Health Board meeting between Dodge and Sioux County. On the 26th, I met with Representative Brad Finstead out at South Country Health Alliance to talk about county-based purchasing, and I must add that meeting went extremely well. And the progress with Department of Human Services and county-based purchasing is moving forward with drafted legislation to finally get that issue put to bed. So we're on the home stretch, hopefully. And on February 1st, I have South Country Health Alliance Joint Powers Board, and I'll add that things are going very well there, too.
Thank you. Scott?
Just one thing to report, Commissioner. You're probably aware, I think a couple of years ago, we talked about utilizing some law library funds for some special, to get some special legislation passed to utilize law library funds for courthouse entrance security. That was introduced last year in the legislature. I did reach out to Senator Jasinski's assistant again, and he'll ensure that it goes before a committee for a hearing again this year. This requires basically a two-sentence kind of amendment. There's a couple other counties in that statute already that have done this, and so we'll see how it goes this year. Just let you know.
Thank you, Scott.
On the 24th, we had a judicial ditch meeting. On the 24th, we also had drug court. On the 31st, I had drug court. On the 1st, we had a property maintenance board meeting. On the 7th, we had a Canada River watershed meeting in Faribault. On the 12th, we had Semtech, that was last night. And there was a work session before this.
Thank you. And I have to report that I attended the Joint Ditch number 6 meeting, the Property and Maintenance Committee meeting, Internal Central Services Committee meeting, the 911 Joint Powers Board meeting with Rice County, in Rice County, and the first round of interviews for the new director at Lynn Prairie, and our work session and meeting today. At our next meeting notices, Public Safety and Health Committee meeting Wednesday, February 14th at 8 a.m. in the boardroom. Land Use and Records Tuesday, February 20th at 8 a.m. in the boardroom. Next County Board work session is Tuesday, February 27th at 3 p.m. in the boardroom. That's early, so that's the usual start time. And then our County Board meeting Tuesday, February 27th at 4 p.m. in the boardroom. That also is 1 hour earlier than usual. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.